So guys, after this episode, we will be done with this series. You've learned a ton of programming principles, C# syntax, unit testing, etc., etc., etc. I am excited for all of you who took this journey with me, and I am excited to hear about your stories, the game you designed, the new features, the directions you took that I didn't. But now when I say we're done, I'm not gonna leave you high and dry. I have created a channel on my personal Discord server, and I'll link it below in the description. Look for a channel on that server called C# Series. And in there, we can continue to talk about the game, the series, answer questions, and maybe, most of all important, you can share some of your personally created adventures for the game that I get to play. That'll blow my mind. I'll be so happy. All right, with no further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, little recap. Last time we made character creation. We got all the way through character creation. We forgot a thing or two. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But don't forget, you can go out to GitHub. You can go out to GitHub, RPG Console Absolute Beginner branches, and I'll put the link below, and get episode 13. That's going to be this episode. So if you want to start right with me on this episode, you can grab this with the couple fixes. Actually, I already merged those in by accident. But yeah, you'll get the fixes I'm about to talk about. And yeah, so now we're beginning combat. So hey guys, let me show you something. We did miss a couple things in character creation, sort of. This is more of a problem whenever you're coding than just the character creation. But here's a sort of a principle. I wouldn't call it a principle, but definitely when you do C#, and there's probably other languages are just like this. Something to look for, a smell, something you see, you should be like, oh, wait a minute. Whenever you see three things like this, a character that has something on it, or, you know, a class that has something attached to it, and then you call something off of that something, whenever you're looking at like three things, you gotta be very careful this middle thing is not a null. Because what's gonna happen is if character inventory is a null and it tries to call add range, which is a method that's supposed to be on this, whatever this is supposed to be, we know that inventory, if you remember from 10,000 years ago from my last video, inventory is supposed to be a list of items. Well, a list has a method called add range. Problem is, we never instantiated this inventory. So the first time we come in here and try to use it, it's going to go kaboom. It's going to say instance not set to an object, not set to an instance of an object. You'll get that a lot in programming. And this is one of the reasons. So whenever you see something like this, you want to check if inventory is not null. And we could fix it like we could just say, character inventory, we could say something like if character inventory is not null. Ugh. Nah, not equal null. There's a way to say is null, I think now, and you can also do a thing called null coalescing operator, but I don't want to use that right here because I want to say if it's not null, then we need to instantiate it. So we need to say character inventory equals new list of items. And then I could go back to what I was trying to do in the first place, because now I know inventory is something. And if we just made it, then we know that it's there. We're going to add the chest treasure. Problem is, I don't know if I want to do this, because sometimes you want things to blow up in your application. You don't ever want things to blow up and get ugly for the end user. You don't want your players to see ugly things, but you know, you might be okay catching stuff and, you know, trying and catching things and finding out that you made a mistake. I think I would rather, and that could be wrong, I haven't really thought about this, but I think I would rather make sure that when we create a character, we create a brand new inventory first. And so I'm going to get rid of that actually. And instead, up here in the character service, where we go and we start to create the character, we're going to instantiate a new character inventory right here. That way, we know for sure that our new character has a new list. What that actually will look like, all that will look like in JSON is that it actually has brackets, and C# will look at that and go, oh, that's a list, and it will turn into a list. Before, what we had was this, null. And so when I tried to call add range on null, it would go kaboom. Now check this out. What else do we see that's null that we have to worry about while we're looking at this? Well, cause of death is null, and that's fine because it shouldn't be anything because the guy hasn't died when he's getting created. And that's going to be a string, most likely, or anything else. We'll instantiate it when they die. And then the adventure that they died in, that's going to be the GUID on which they died in, just so we can have some fun metadata later on. But I kind of cheated here because this also, and I've already changed this also was null. Now, it didn't matter to us yet because we haven't attacked. That's what we're doing in this video. But this would have blown up or been a problem for us in this video because we created an attack attribute on an entity, on the character, not on the character, but see, you got characters, there's no attack. Character, remember, and character inherited from entity, and entities have attacks. Whenever you're looking through this stuff now, you can see we are assigning a bunch of these default values, not here. Ints can't be null. An integer can't be null. If there's no value, it's going to be a 0. We instantiated this one to level 1 because we want the default to be 1. Again, integer, no problem. This was a problem for us because we said it was a list item, but we didn't instantiate it. And we have this also complex class that we made ourselves called attack. So attack would have been null. So the first time we tried to call attack, it had the possibility of blowing up. So I also went back through character service. So if you need to do two things, before we go to attack, on line 91-ish of your character service, depending on if you followed me exactly, where it says new character, put in new character dot inventory equals new list dot item. Oh, and look here, Visual Studio is trying to say, Guy, you can do this a little bit nicer. So we click this, we get our light bulb. Give me the light bulb. I want the light bulb here. Oh, I hate when I have to go all the way over here so far. Object initialization can be simplified. So we're doing in 2 lines what we could do in 1. Doesn't matter if you like to do it this way, you can do it. Visual Studio is just like, hey, it could look a little nicer, and you can do it like this. So that equals that. Because the new character was on this, like just the line above, it was able to say, when you're creating a new model, if you want to, fill in some of the attributes, you can do it right then and there. So we could do attack as well if we wanted to. Problem with that is we don't know what the attack is. Remember, the attack is going to be based on the class. So we did that, and then you'll notice down here, and I don't necessarily love all these. These are all we could probably move all this out into its own method because we're doing the same thing over and over again, just slightly different. It's not that big a deal right now, though. So here's where we instantiated attack inside each class. So if it's a fighter, you're going to get a base die of 8. If you're a thief, you're only going to be able to hit for 4 because you're a little weenie thief. If you're a magic user, you're 4 because you got spells. And if you're a healer, you're going to have 6 because you're kind of like a spellcaster and a fighter. And so there we go. Problem solved. Okay, monsters. We got to have monsters to fight. We're going to smatter them around a little bit. Probably put a couple in our beginning adventure just so we can practice doing some combat, seeing how that works out. You'll notice if you look at monster in the entity, I don't know if you made this with me, but we have a couple little green squigglies, and basically what it's saying is we are overshadowing the object that we inherited. So imagine when we made entity, we probably made monster first, then we added gold and armor class to entity, which means it's overshadowing. So you could say, hey, I want this to be more important. I want a high base member. You could do it that way, but so we can just get rid of these because gold and armor class belong to entity. What do we even need in a monster class? Monster type is just right now in my brain is just a thing for information. Oh, I know what we need. We need to know what the hit dice are of the monster. That's what we'll use to determine how tough it is and how hard it is to hit. So maybe we don't even need armor class, but we do want to know how tough the guy is, so that we know how much experience to give our player for beating the monster. We could get fancy probably later on down the road if we ever got to it and make, number of attacks, that sort of thing. But this is all we're doing for now. I don't think we're going to hit dice. I think what we're going to do is we're going to give a base die for damage, and we'll times it by the level. So that if we were to have a level 2 guy here, we would do something with the attack, maybe plus the level. And then when they get experience, we'll give them the base die damage times the level, I think. I don't know. Something to think about. Okay, so to put monsters in our adventure, we got to pull up our adventure stuff. So I pulled up my initial adventure JSON that's in my folder. Remember, we have this folder here with adventures in it, bin, debug.net core, and then there's an adventures folder with your initial adventure in it. That is this, where we have all the information. And I went to look and thought, oh man, we got to add monsters. But yeah, we were smart enough to realize that we were going to add a list of rooms, and then the room class was going to have a list of monsters on it. So perfect. So I'd say if the list of monsters is not null, then there's monsters in the room. So here's a room. I think the long hallway is a perfect place to put it. If you don't remember, we have an initial room that you get into that has a key. There's also a secret door, I believe, a scary room that has some stuff. Oh no, that's the door. You need to have the key to open that door. So there's a door you can't open, right? Then you have to go down the long hallway to get the key in room 4, and then you can open the door. Well, let's put a rat in the long hallway, just a single rat. So this is a list. So this is, here we've got, and this makes it a list, and then here's one element inside the list. And so we're gonna make one monster. So we're gonna have to say, monster type, rat. And let's finish the monster. Remember, the monster is an entity, so let's pull up entity. Here it is. I'm gonna put this over here. I like to have this little split screen. Hit points. 2. Yeah. Attack. Now this is an object, so we got to do that. And let's move that down a line just to make it more readable. BaseDie is a 1. Of course, it's a rat, and no bonus damage. I put that in there in case one day we have magic weapons or something. That might be a good place. So we have the rat, the hit points. Is the rat going to have some goodies on him? So gold. The rat's going to have 1 gold stuck to its back because it's disgusting, nasty, dirty rat. 1. Armor class. Do we need to worry about armor class for a rat? Can we just do? Yeah, let's do armor class. Now the way we do an armor class, we're probably gonna do it like on a, I don't know, a 20-point system, average being 10. And this is a rat, and so we'll give it an average, we'll give it an 8 because it's fast, a 9, super fast, 20 being the best. No inventory. We can check that, see if it's null. All right, so we have a monster now. Let's save this, and we're going to analyze our adventure once we get in game. So where is the game service? Here's the game service. Now let's move this all over. All right, we're going to stop it right after this so we can, or before this, and then go through it so we can see what our adventure looks like. Let's see if we did this adventure right. All right, we loaded it up. Let's look at our adventure. Here's our series of rooms. We got 4 rooms. Long hallway would be number 2. Oh, we got a monster. Look at that. And our monster is a monster, and there it is. It's an armor class of 9, gold 1, It's a rat. We could actually use that, maybe put some, no we can't, never mind. I was thinking, just never mind, that's stupid. We could do some sort of ASCII art with it, but I'm not worried about that right now. Yeah, we're there, and there's no inventory, it's null, and attack should be, yeah. Okay guys, so I went ahead and wrote all this stuff off camera, so we can kind of bust through it pretty fast. You've spent so many hours with me here. I don't want to waste too much of your time. I will upload all this into the final branch, and it'll be in the master branch or a final branch, so you can grab it all. But I'm going to try to go over it. First of all, let's go to game service. What are we looking for? Line 163. So over in game service, line 163. Geez, that got big. So we're going to write a new combat service that can run combat. So what we do here, we added some monsters, right? And while we're describing the room and looking at the room, we say in 160, if the room monsters do not equal null, oh snap, there's monsters in here. I'm going to put a line. And then we're going to run combat. We're going to pass our character in by reference. I think we've talked about that before. Basically, that means it's not a copy. It's the actual character so that we can do things to the character in there, like kill him or give him inventory based upon what he does to the monsters. So, and then we're going to pass all the monster list in as well. And then when this is over, we're going to see if this character is still alive. If he died in it, we're gonna write down the name of the adventure, and so we know where he died. You know what? We'll do this. We'll do. I'm gonna do game title. Let's do this. In there, GWT, yeah. All right, so we can put the GWT in there too, and we'll put it in like square brackets so that will look cool. Yeah, that should work. And then we call game over. If you recall, we already have a game over method where it just says we're going to save all the new stuff to the character, and the game is over. We were creating a new character, but I don't like that because I was having some issues. So I commented that out. You'll probably see why when you run your own. And then let's look at the combat service. So I've got here in the game, I made a new combat service or interface, and it just has run combat, where you pass in a character by reference, not by copy, and you pass in the list of monsters. So we're going to give them the character, we're going to give them the monsters, and we're going to let the combat service do all the stuff it needs to do. And we got some unused usings up here, so we'll remove those. All right, so now we're going to create a combat service that inherits from that interface. Oh, another couple unused usings. I hate that. Get rid of those. And as always, make a public class combat service, and we inherit from the iCombat service interface, which means we have to create a run combat method, which we do. We pass in the message handler. This is the same methodology we've been doing, so that it will inject it in for us. So we're going to pass in a message handler so that we can write messages to the screen. And here the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tell the user who they're fighting. So we're going to say you face off against, boom, and then we're going to list through the monsters and list the monster types, one or many. Oh, and then we're going to write it. So this is we're building the string here, and then we're going to write the string out right here. I will step through all this and show you all this as we play it. And then what we're going to do for our combat engine service, as you would, we're going to get a couple dice, and we're going to roll those dice, and we're going to see who gets the initiative. If you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons or some kind of game like that, you need to see who goes first, and that's what initiative is. So we're going to get the initiative. So I made a variable called dice, and it's the new dice class. And then I'm going to make an actual variable called D20. So it's a dice. It's a 20-sided dice, and I gave it a new list die D20. I like how I did that. That's kind of nice. So now we can just call D20 instead of calling this whole thing every time. We're going to get the character's damage die. Now, this was pretty cool of us. So if you remember, when we wrote the base die, we made it actually has to be a base die. So this is an integer called BaseDie. We probably could have made this actually part of the dice, because as you can see, a die needs to be either a 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, or 100. So as long as our base damage is one of these, this will work. If you make a base damage for an entity that's not a base, see, we called it base die. We were smart. We thought ahead. But if you were to make a guy somehow or a monster that isn't one of these dice, this is going to break. But because we made Todd with a base die of 8, or fighters with a base die of 8, then I can simply cast this base die to my enum, and it will automatically become a D8 dice. So character damage die is going to be that. I'll show you that in a minute. Hit a key to roll for initiative. So they're going to hit a key, and then we're going to roll for initiative. Why do I have all this space? We don't need all that. We're going to roll a D20 for the character. We're going to roll a D20 for the monster. And then we're going to write out what happened. Let's stop here. And let's go through it up until here. Actually, I'm going to stop it right here. All right, so I'm going to the long hallway, which is where we put the monsters, right? And let's see what will happen. So, combat's begun because we went into a long hallway and monsters, where was I? 160. Why did it go down so far? Right, the monster list is not null, so we went into run combat. We're now in the combat service. You face off against a rat because we have our monsters and we have our character. Character damage die. The base die is an 8, which will get converted to a D8. Perfect. So our character damage die is a D8. Perfect. Our D20 is a D20. Perfect. You hit a key to roll for initiative. All right, so we're going to hit a key. Ugh, sorry. It broke. All right, so we're going to roll. Character initiative is a 9. Monster initiative is a 10, which means the monster gets to go first. And we'll see this message. You rolled a 9, and the monster rolled a 10. All right, let's stop it. All right, so that's where we're at. So while the character initiative equals so if it's a tie, we're going to do this to say it's a tie. Hey guys, that's a tie. Let's roll again. We roll it again, and I'm saying while. So this is going to loop forever until these aren't a tie. I've only seen one tie so far, but it was cool and it worked. And then we're going to write out what we did up here, and then we're going to move on down. I thought I needed monster gold and monster inventory, but I don't because I can get them off the monsters. But I'm going to leave that here for a minute. I'm going to say as long as the monsters are alive, you will need this in a minute. So you're going to do a variable that says monsters are alive equals true. And then we're going to say, is it the character's turn? So you can see this is a expression that's saying, is the character initiative greater than the monster's initiative? If so, then character's turn would be true. This is going to be a Boolean. See, it even says Boolean. It can look at this and go, okay, that's going to be a Boolean. So while the character is still alive and the monsters are still alive, we're going to keep fighting because we're not going to be running away. You could do running away, in case you could make a check in here if the monsters panic. Let's say one way of doing that, like with a real Dungeons and Dragons game, if I have 4 monsters and half of them die, you roll for what's called morale, and you can see if the other 2 want to keep fighting or if they want to try to flee. I mean, if you want to add some extra stuff, that might be a really cool thing to add. But we're not doing that now. And so then we're going to say if it's the character's turn, so on the initiative roll, then we're just going to do the character's attack. All right, hit a key to attack the monster. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start with the first monster in the list and keep going down the list. So that's why you see monsters 0 being the first monster in the list. We're not going to do anything fancy where, hey, you're fighting 5 guys. Which one do you want to fight? This is a console game. You're just fighting the first monster until he's dead, and then you're going to the next one. All right. Now we're going to roll to attack to hit the monster, which is going to be a D20. So you will remember from entities. Entities have a armor class, and I gave Todd an armor class of 10. Fighters should have an armor class of 10. I actually put that in manually. You may have to put that in the code somewhere because he had a 0, which I don't know. We might have messed up with that. So when you create characters, let's actually look at that real quick. Character service. Where are we creating characters? So, man, this is hard to look at because this is continually over and over and over again. not DRY, do not repeat yourself. I'm repeating myself. So yeah, we didn't do it here. So you're going to want to come over to the character service line 100s and make armor, just make a standard armor class. We're not really looking at like armor, what they're wearing. We're just going to give an armor class. Again, another advancement in this game would be to actually see what they're wearing. Give them armor that has a base armor class, and as they get better stuff, give them better armor. But right now we're going to use the base armor class. So a fighter will have a 10 just because they're hardy. You know what? Let's give them a 12. I think a fighter should have a 12. A thief has to be light and nimble and quiet. So a thief will have a 8. Magic user can't even wear armor, and he has to wear cloth. So I'm going to give, I would say magic user should have an 8 as well. And then the healer is a little tougher, but not as tough as a fighter, so a 10. So that makes sense. That makes sense to me. All right, so anyway, back to attack to hit monster. You're going to try to hit their armor class. So we're going to roll a dice, see what we do. Then we're going to report out. You rolled a whatever against the monster's armor class of, and we're going to, again, we're fighting the first monster. We're going to get their armor class. And then we're going to say, hey, did this attack go above or equal to the armor class? If so, it's a hit. You swung and you hit. Damage, and then we're going to roll for damage. First of all, let's get their hit points. Oh, wait a minute. But okay, so we're doing the damage. We're rolling our character's damage dice. We're taking it off the hit points. And then we're seeing if the hit points are less than 1, and then they're dead. Let's just go to this point. And it's probably likely that it will be the monster's turn. So we're going to stop here too, and I'll show you this. We'll step through it, and I'll show it to you. So because I know the monsters are east, I'm just going to go straight to the east. I've got 2 dudes. The reason I got 2 dudes here, guys, and you might want to do this, is I made a copy of my first dude, and I have him just kind of sitting there so I can keep, as I die and I write to my guy, he's not able to go on the next thing. I have to undo it. So I've got a guy on here. Let me show you. I've got Todd open, and I've got him all highlighted. I just copy it and I paste it in the new Todd when the new Todd dies or wins or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to pick 0. I'm going to go east. I know I'm going to hit a trap. I could check for traps, but I don't care. I'm just trying to, I find no traps. So I'm going to go east. I'm going to set the trap off, which means I have 7 hit points. I don't worry about this anymore. So, oh snap, there's monsters in here. You face off against a rat. Hit a key for initiative. You rolled a 16 and the monsters rolled 16, and there's a tie. There's our tie. How cool. Cool. Wait a minute. That's a problem. Okay, for some reason it skipped to the monsters. What is the, well, while we're stopped, let's just see. Initiative. Oh, maybe it wrote this again. Okay. It probably wrote this again and then went to the monsters initiative before we could see that. No problem. Because now the monster is a 10 and we're an 8. So monster is first. We're going to write the monster attacks. We're going to attack to hit our character. So we're rolling a d20 to see if we can hit the armor class. Our character's armor class is a 10. So let's just step right in. And what did the guy, 13. So he hit us. And I think fighter should be a 12, but I manually put that in there. So it is higher. So you're going to see, it's going to say, hey, the monster hits. Now we're going to roll the damage. So what's our monster's damage die? A rat does 4 damage. So this should be a 4-sided die. I did 2 damage to myself. So it says you rolled it for 2 damage. We're going to, how many hit points do I have? 7 minus or equal to. So this actually takes it off. The damage is 2. So now my hit points are 5. It's going to see if I'm less than 1 and if I've died, which I haven't. And now it's my turn. Because I knew it was the monster's turn. And see in here, okay, let's just keep going. So while I'm still alive and the monsters are still alive, we're going to keep going. Is it my turn? Yes, it's my turn. So now we'll get to here. You've seen all the, I talked to you. Oh, I got to hit a key. Okay, so this is all the stuff that we saw, right? That's a tie. Let's roll again. You rolled an 8. The monsters rolled a 10. Rat attacks. He rat attack tech. Hit me for 13, 10. Did 2 damage. We know all this. Now let's attack the rat. Okay, what did we do? We rolled a 15, and the rat is only a 9. I don't think an armor class of 9 is actually good for a rat, but I just put that in there. So we hit the rat. We're gonna roll damage, and we rolled a 5. The rat has what, 2 hit points, so we killed it. You swung. Hit points minus damage. Boom. So now the hit points are -3, which is less than 1. So we're gonna say, hey, you killed the monster. Now we're going to check to see if the monster had any gold, which it did have a gold. So we're going to tell the player, you got some gold, friend. And we're going to add that. Our current gold is 0. Now we got 1. So our current gold is 1. Yay. We're going to check if the monster has any inventory. It does, because we gave the rat. Let me go over here. Did I show you this? The monster. I think I showed you a minute ago that we didn't give the rat inventory. Then I decided when I was testing to go ahead and give the rat inventory just so I could test. So somehow this rat's carrying around a freaking used tinderbox. And the name is a 5, which is an enum. So if we go to items. Oh, I got it over here. Enum type 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that tinderbox is 5 because it's 0 based. So we said, hey, it's a tinderbox. The description is used tinderbox and it weighs 1. It's not worth any gold. I just gave him something because I wanted to try this. Okay, give me a break. If it is, we'll say, hey, it has some inventory, and then we're going to loop through the monster's inventory, write what it is. Boop, 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 boop. All right, let's go over. You rolled a 15. We know all this. You swung. You hit it for 5 damage. You killed the rat. It had 1 gold. It also had some inventory. You get a used tinderbox. That's where we're at right now. And we're doing a 4 each. So every item in the inventory, that was all it had. So now we're doing that add range thing where we're gonna put its inventory into our inventory. Our inventory right now is nothing, and so we're gonna add all the inventory of the rat, which is only 1 item. And now if I look at my inventory, I've got 1 item. I now own a tinderbox. And now I'm going, so here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to remove that monster because it's dead. I'm going to remove at the 0 index. All right, so monsters, it has 1 monster, 0. I'm going to remove that. And then I'm going to check and see if the monsters are, if there's any more. So if we had 2 monsters, there would still be 1 more monster. But right now, there is no monster. So I check the monster count. It's 0. Monsters are not alive. I've killed the monster. It's now the monster's turn. But I'm going to check and say, while character is alive, true, and monsters are alive, which is now false. And now combat is over, guys. And that's it. We just ran combat. That's all there is. I'm going to see if the character is alive, which he is. This is asking if the character is not alive, and then it does the game over. Why do I have? Jeez. All right, and I'm going to set the monster. Now I'm going to set the room monsters to null because all right, I actually don't need this. I thought I needed this earlier, but I would be calling the game over if the character wasn't alive. So, all right, and here we go. We finish. All right, so before I save anything, let's run through this a couple more times. Let's play this game a couple more times. I have 7 hit points. I want to die. Okay, let's get rid of these. I'm going to make Todd's armor class a 2 and give him like 4 hit points. I just want to see him die. A little morbid. All right, so the monster hit me. I rolled 2. I didn't hit him. The rat attacked again and rolled a 5 against my measly 2. Hit me for 3. You have died at the hands of a vicious rat. So where did I do that at? I want to show you guys that. That's pretty cool. So on the monster's turn, yeah. So if you die, we're going to describe how you died. So you have died at the hands of a vicious, and the monster type, which is the name. And then we're going to fill in the character's cause of death. Combat with rat. Fun. Now we're back here. We say, is the character alive? No, he's not, or she is not. So we're going to say died in adventure, which is null right now, but there we go. So if we look at well, that won't work right now because I haven't saved it. But if I go at cause of death is combat with rat, died in adventure, and there's our GUID. So awesome. We're going to go to game over, save the character, write that game is over, and start all over again. Now you'll notice I made an option for graveyard. I was going to do this, but decided not to. This won't be hard. You guys need to make the graveyard. You can make a graveyard service with graveyard interface, and the graveyard could just be, if they hit a G, just say graveyard dot list dead people or something. And all you got to do is get all the files where character is not alive. So if you were to go to, let's see, right here, is alive false. So loop through all the people in the characters folder. Is alive, if is alive equals false, then maybe list them out. List a lot of details out. Grab all this stuff. Say this was here lies name, who, and then do the background. You could say was a level so and so, and they died. The cause of death was blank in the adventure of the Duke's Chalice. And in that case, maybe we don't want the GUID on there. I don't know. And then you could list like how much gold they had. You could list their inventory, all kinds of fun things. And you just do that for all the dead people, or come up with something else. I don't care. I think it'll be cool to see what you come up with. And I'm going to reset Todd. He's alive again. And guys, that's combat. We are done. You have done combat. You have done everything. You have a fully functioning game where I'm going to actually I'm going to play this game one last time for you, for me. We're going to try to finish this. I know it's out there, and I'm going to try to do everything right. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to set my guy back. Oh, I think I already did. Actually, let's go to 12 because I'm a fighter. D8. All right, there we go. This is good. Let's play the game for real. Initial. Woo! All right. I'm going to check for traps. Now I'm a fighter, and I put all my points into strength, so I probably won't be able to find this trap. Oh, I found a trap, and I tried to disarm it, but I didn't, and I was hurt for 2. Crap. Down to 6. All right, whatever. I'm going to open this chest because I need this key. I'm going to open this chest because I need this key. All right, I found a new key. Now that key is down the long hallway, and I'm going to have to fight a rat. So let's go east. Here we go. So the monster goes first. He could not hit me. That's great. So I'm going to roll. I rolled 12 against his 9. I killed him. I got my gold. I got my used tinderbox, and now I'm going to go east. Which is a locked door. I have the key. I unlock the door. This is the old dusty room. I know there's traps in this chest. I just know it. So check the chest for traps. Look for traps. Oh boy. All right, I'm gonna get hit with this trap here. Clank. 2. I'm down to 4. I could still die. Now I'm gonna open the chest because I've set off all the things. Yeah, I found some food. I found a key. Here's another option for features is making food. If it's a type food and they eat it, give them, you know, 2 or 3 hit points back, 4 hit points. I don't know. I'm gonna go back west. I'm gonna go back west. Now I'm back in my initial room. I'm gonna go north, and I'm gonna open the chest. Oh, I don't think this chest has a trap. Maybe it does. I'm gonna check for trap. Look for trap. Oh, I can't do that twice. I hope I have a key. There we go. You open the chest. You find 5 gold. Your gold total now is 6. You find 2 items in this chest, rope and a holy symbol. And I found the final objective because that is the Duke's Chalet. I get 250 XP. I get 100 gold. I now have 250 and 106 gold, and my game's over. Fun adventure. Thank you. And here's another feature that we got to have is leveling. So at this point, you might want to, at that point, you might want to check the guy and see if he becomes level 2 because he now has so much XP. You could say, hey, if it's a fighter and he has 1,000 hit or 1,000 experience points, he's level 2. I don't know. You decide and come tell me. Come on my Discord. Get on my Discord. Give me some ideas, or give me some of your ideas. Give me some of your maybe some of your ventures. Make an adventure for me. I don't know. Let's go talk. I'll share this with you. I have had so much fun. I appreciate you guys so much. Let me know if anything you have questions of or problems with, and I will see you soon. I'm going to add some more videos, not on this series necessarily, but yeah, there'll be some more programming videos coming out, and I appreciate it. See you guys later. Peace.